Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 28th of November. The first important news that is blue bugging and Bluetooth enabled devices, that is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, G20 presidency, an opportunity to focus on the global good. Third, government cannot violate privacy of citizen. Fourth, China anti-lockdown protest. And the last is an editorial EWS quota, a political freebies. So apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. Starting the session with the first news of the day, that is blue bugging and Bluetooth enabled devices. Something important for General Studies paper 3 under the subtopic, that is science and technology, Indianization of technology, development of new technology and the concern related to it. So साइबर सिक्योरिटी के एक्सपर्ट्स के मुताबिक कुछ ऐसी एप्स हैं, द एप्स दैट लेट यूजर कनेक्ट टू द स्मार्टफोन, लैपटॉप्स, वायरलेस ईयरबड्स can record the conversation and are vulnerable to hack. So these are the other technological repercussion that has been reported with regards to the Bluetooth uses. Even most secure smartphone like iPhone are vulnerable to the attack, and the app will have access to Bluetooth that can record the conversation of an individual, right? After the malware and spyware reported across the globe, चाहे वो किसी भी तरह आप ऐप की बात कर ले, NSO की भी जो ऐप थी और भी ऐसे ऐप्स कई बार रिपोर्ट किए गए, which is again with that is breaching the individual privacy. So though the process is called the blue bugging, ये पूरी process को blue bugging कहते हैं, hacker can gain an unauthorized access to these apps and the devices can control them as per their wishes. Now what is blue bugging actually? और prelims के लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा relevant है, आपसे direct question prelims examination में पूछे जाएंगे. So blue bugging is a form of hacking that let attackers access a device through the discoverable Bluetooth connection. अगर आपने अपनी Bluetooth on रखी हुई है, by that Bluetooth devices, the enable can have the connections, right? And once the device is connected, it is called blue bug, and a hacker can listen to the calls, he can read and send the messages and steal and modify the contacts as well. So these are the changes that an individual can do once he's connected to your device through Bluetooth. Now it can state out a threat to the laptops and all the devices that has a Bluetooth capabilities. The hackers can use this technique to target mobile phone and other devices as well. Now what is blue bugging actually? अगर ethical hacking की बात करें, वहाँ पे कई बार ये methodology use की जाती है. So suppose this is a Bluetooth, right? It can be connected via laptop, monitor, printer, mobile phone, speakers, and even laptop. And the new category, even you can add like TWS are there, right? So TWS are the new one that has been added to this. तो बहुत सारे ऐसे devices हैं जो आप phone से connect करते हैं via Bluetooth that is vulnerable. क्या क्या इसके measures हैं? We'll see that also and how we can prevent at individual level. We'll see everything later part of the video. Now, how do blue bugging hack the devices? किस तरह से blue bugging की methodology लगा करके basically people tend to capture the individual privacy. Blue bugging attacks the worker by exploiting the Bluetooth enabled devices, and these devices, that is the Bluetooth devices, must be discoverable mode, which is default setting in most of the devices. Even if you install any of the applications, वहाँ पे कई बार आपसे Bluetooth calls, voice, इन सारी चीज़ों की access भी मांगी जाती है. Although that is not a fraud, but that makes its default enabled for particular app. The hackers then tries to repair with these devices and connect via the Bluetooth mode. And once connected is established, the hacker can use to brute the force attack by passing the authentication methodology. Now they can install the malware and it can compromise the devices to gain unauthorized access to it. And blue bugging can happen whenever a Bluetooth enabled device is within the 10-meter radius of a hacker. So these are the limitation and shortcoming of the Bluetooth. It cannot basically take a stretch of a kilometers or something like that. It has a limitation of 10 meters only. Now, preventing the blue bugging, how at the individual level an individual can prevent from having a blue bugging attack, and what are the measures that is suggested by the expert. So turning off the Bluetooth is the simplest measure that you can have, and disconnecting the paired Bluetooth devices that is not in use. Sometimes what we tend to do, suppose अगर आप TWS use कर रहे हैं, इवन आपने अपने speakers connect करिए हैं, तो आपको उसे uninstall, not actually uninstall, you have to disconnect it, right? So disconnection is something that is very important. When you're not using, do disconnect it. Updating the device system software with the latest version, because security patch की concern होती है, so that is essentially important that you should have the latest version of that. Limited use of public Wi-Fi using the VPN is additional security measures that an individual can take to prevent the blue bugging. Modern antivirus software can also help to try such attacks, and the new age antivirus software help the users to detect the strange and spam-like content by filtering, blocking, constantly reminding people to be alert. The devices that are most susceptible to the attack, ऐसी devices जो सबसे ज़्यादा attack prone होती हैं, any Bluetooth enabled device can be blue bugged. Blue wireless earbuds are susceptible to such hacks. Basically, just as a TWS and all sort of earbuds are there. They are most susceptible for the attackers. And even the apps that enable users to connect their TWS to wireless stereo devices or earbuds can record the conversation. These apps of the TWS device can record the conversation, and one hacks the attackers can make the call, he can listen to your call, he can read the messages, he can send the messages and modify and steal your contacts as well. Now moving to the other news, the Prime Minister in its Mann Ki Baat has categorically said that G20 presidency is an opportunity to focus on the global good. Something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So the Prime Minister has said that with India set to officially assume the G20 presidency from Indonesia, which is the current chair of G20, India will be overtaking the presidency from Indonesia on 1st of December 2022, and this will last till November 2023. This timeline is very important, and this will be the right time where India can set its precedent at global level. The Prime Minister of India said, we have a huge opportunity for India and the country must utilize focusing on the global goods. G20 logo की अगर बात करें, that the new logo has also emerged with the shape of lotus with the message of Vasudhaiva Kutukam, which means one earth and one family, one future. Now, the Prime Minister during the latest episode in the Mann Ki Baat has said that India is capable of providing the solutions of diversity to challenges being faced globally. Now, there are many challenges post-COVID, and apart from COVID, there are all of bilateral challenges that is also there. He said that we have to make the full use of opportunity to focus on the global goods and the world welfare, be it peace, unity, sensitivity towards the environment, sustainable development, which has been a lot advocated by global leaders as well. And India has been looking for a solution related to this change as well. Now, some important challenges for India. India will be definitely having the presidency of G20, and during this tenureship, some of the priority areas, some of the challenges India will have to look forward with. The first among the important is the climate crisis. और climate crisis की अगर बात की जाए, COP26 is very much evident of the fact that every country is looking forward with the climate finance as well, right? So एक important fund बनाई गई है, LND, Lost and Damaged Fund, which will be definitely helping the developing countries, and it will also call for establishing a corpus that will help the developing countries. Pandemic, post pandemic जो economic recovery है उस पर ध्यान देना. यूक्रेन और रशिया के बीच में जिस तरह से वॉर चल रही है, पूरी सप्लाई चेन डिस्टर्ब हुई है. That is again a bigger challenge for India. Achieving the sustainable development goal target will be pivotal because we have to achieve this target by 2030. Food and energy crisis are other important challenges and priority area for the country like India during the tenureship of G20 members. Now, G20 members की अगर बात करें, this is a grouping of 20, like 19 countries and one European Union. And these members represent almost 80% of the GDP, 75% of international trade, 60% of the world population. Important facts relevant for prelims and mains examination both. G7 countries की बात करें, these are the G7 countries. If Russia is included, it becomes G8 और countries को मिला दे, this is the part of G20 countries. Government cannot violate privacy of a citizen. This is what the minister has said, and he has categorically said during the press conference. We'll see into the detailed part of it, but something important for general studies paper 2, government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So amidst the apprehensions of giving a blanket exemptions to the government entities with regards to the digital personal data protection draft bill, the central government has categorically said that the government will not violate anything with regards to the privacy of data, and under this the government has the access to personal data only in the exceptional circumstances which include national security, pandemic and natural disaster. So this is what the minister has said, that definitely government will not violate the right to privacy, and this is only in the context of these important issues. Now, speaking during an online discussion, the minister has said that the National Data Governance Framework Policy has a policy for handling the anomalies, which will be the part of draft digital personal data protection bill, right? If you talk about the anomalization, this is a data processing technique that removes or modifies the personal identified informations. Now, talking about the proposed changes under this law, क्या-क्या चीजें बदलाव की गई है, which government has come up with this ruling and the amendment. So the proposed data protection law exempts certain entities notifying as a data fiduciaries from the various compliances. The provisions from which the government notified entities will be exempted to deal with the information of an individual for the purpose of data collections. The draft bill also bars individual from sharing the unverifiable and wrong information. So these are some of the limitations, the challenge, even the amendment that was made under the proposed data law. And the proposed data law also called for the establishment of DPB, that is the Data Protection Board, which will adjudicate the matters related to data protections and would be independent and not have any government offices. So this is completely free from any government outreach, because it will be functioning as an independent authority which will be looking into the grievances of an individual citizen. सुप्रीम कोर्ट की क्या रूलिंग है राइट टू प्राइवेसी को लेकर के, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ यू आर राइटिंग इन मेंस पेपर, यू हैव टू हाईलाइट दिस, बिकॉज विदाउट दिस द आंसर विल बी इनकम्प्लीट. So generally understood, right to privacy in synonyms to right that has to be let alone. And Supreme Court has described right to privacy. It's very important. It is landmark judgment, which is case Puttaswamy versus Union of India in 2017. And right to privacy की बात करें, this is protected as an intrinsic part of the right and life and liberty under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, which guarantee the freedom. Right? Part 3 में सारी डिटेल इसमें डिस्कशन की गई है. इफ यू वांट टू रेफर, डू रेफर इंडियन पॉलिटी बाय एम लक्ष्मीकांत. आप डिटेल में वहां पे पढ़ सकते हैं सारी चीजों को. द पुट्टास्वामी जजमेंट होल्ड्स दैट द राइट टू प्राइवेसी इज a protection in the fundamental rights under Article 14, 19 and 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now, other news, that is China anti-lockdown protests, something important for general studies paper 2, that is the effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries. So recently the Chinese leader has faced unprecedented dissent after the thousands of demonstrators has protested in the cities across China because of the China's COVID policies. Zero COVID policy की बात करें या चाइना की zero COVID strategy, जो कि काफी strict मानी जाती है compared to any other countries. The wave of civil disobedience is spread across major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, which has a public anger over the hardline norms to abide China's zero COVID policy. Although China में अभी भी cases report किए जा रहे हैं, the number is not that high, but China is still continuing with a zero COVID policy, which is considered to be the very harsh and tough policies. The protesters have coincided with the record outbreak of the COVID-19 cases in the recent times, and they have brought fresh lockdown. China में फिर से वापस fresh lockdown लगाई जा रही है, जहाँ पे और countries एक normalcy की तरफ बढ़ रही है. China is still facing some of the very strict. The National Health Commission has recently reported that more than 39,500 cases, which is highest since the pandemic has begun, reported in China. Now, क्या है चाइना की जीरो कोविड strategy? It's a strategy that aims to drive down the numbers of COVID-19 cases by imposing strict lockdown, closing borders, and imposing the travel ban. Initially, when the pandemic started, Western countries has adopted this methodology, but it was for a shorter duration of time, which involved to flatten the curve and strengthening the healthcare capacity as possible. And it will also ensure that there are less transmissions of the virus from one place to another. But sooner that strategy was eliminated because it was very tough to even to implement, and for citizen it was also tougher. This strategy eventually evolved into the COVID-19 eliminations and the COVID plan, zero COVID plan की अगर बात करें. And even for the government, they have tried to stamp up various outbreak down to last the COVID-19 at the cost where huge life was also lost. So government has come up with some strict policy. India may be not zero COVID policy, but the government was even trying harder to ensure that इस तरह के strictness हो ताकि cases को रोका जा सके. बट अक्रॉस द ग्लोब बहुत सारे ऐसे कंट्रीज है जिन्होंने जीरो कोविड पॉलिसी को पूरी तरह से हटा दिया. नाउ चाइना इज द ओनली कंट्री रिमेनिंग दैट इम्पोज द जीरो कोविड पॉलिसी. EWS quota are political freebies. This is an editorial for the day, something important for general studies paper 2. That is welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. So what is the main theme of this editorial? Talking about the issues. First theme is EWS reservation और कुछ important issues और themes की बात करें. Reservations on the basis of economic criteria. Reservation for EWS. New quotas की क्या criteria है. Beneficiaries of the reservation policy and the way forward. We'll see all subheadings one by one. So recently the Supreme Court has upheld the validity of 103 Constitutional Amendment Act, which provides for 10% of reservations to EWS category to move forward with regards to the job and admission in the academic institution. तो ये जो 10% reservation है ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ forward classes के लिए रखी गई है, and SC, ST and minorities and OBC are exempted from this category. This is only to ensure कि जो forward class के बच्चे हैं उनको specifically reservation दी जाए on the basis of their economic status. The verdict now was open to big window of a difference community to seek reservation based on this criteria. So demand और आगे भी बढ़ सकती है. So accordingly the things will proceed. And given the controversy around the methodology, the database, sample size, comparability, and information from the different sources are have to be there. Reservation on the basis of economic criteria की अगर बात करें, while one of the most accepted of the economic criteria is the sole basis to affirm action and it does not violate the basic structure of Indian Constitution. अगर आप economic basis पर reservations दे रहे हैं, तो this does not violate any kind of structural problem in the Indian Constitution. Although reservation की बात की है 50% से ऊपर नहीं जानी चाहिए, बट वो एक डिफरेंट कंटेक्स्ट की बात है. यहाँ पे सिर्फ वैसे लोगों को रिजर्वेशन दी जा रही है जो कि इकोनॉमिकली वीकर है और वो जनरल कैटेगरी से बिलोंग करते हैं. One must analyze that these eligibility criteria for the reservation will enable only for the genuine poor who are not at par with the basically the standard that is set. And there's a huge scope for each state to design its criteria for defining the economic deprivations to cater its political allies. And in fact, it would be political freebies to distribute to the pressure group as well. Now, reservation of EWS की अगर बात करें, in the context of reservation for the economically weaker section, it can be argued that children of the poor from the upper caste, only from the upper caste or from the general or from the UR, will have the reservation, and at least much of the children from the Dalit who are enjoying the high economic status, social status for 2 generations. तो कई ऐसे ST, SCs के भी लोग हैं, but the section is very less, it's very marginal, so we cannot count them. But again, the beneficiaries आते हैं, तो कई ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर कोई ST, SC के हैं उनको अपनी exemptions वो नहीं लेते, but फिर भी वो benefits को continue रखते हैं. At the same time, जो UR के इंडिविजुअल हैं, they are also poor, economically काफी backward है, but उनको किसी भी तरह के रिजर्वेशन नहीं मिल रही. So that is the reason the government has come up with the criteria that on the economically conditions, economic weaker section of society को पार लाने के लिए सोसाइटी में उनको भी रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत है. It would be not surprising if the above stipulation enjoy the large measure support and the cross-sectional society and political parties for the general populations. If you look into the present reservation matrix. At present, scheduled caste has 101 communities in which provides 17% reservation. Scheduled tribe has 50 community with 7% reservation. Other backward community has 32% of the reservation. Categories community wise आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं. Community that are not eligible for reservation in the present matrix of the EWS include Brahmin, right, Jains, and these are the Muralidhar, Natra, Ashravastha, and even estimated population is around 4%. And what is the new quota criteria in terms of EWS? As far as EWS is concerned, reservation की कुछ eligibility criteria रखी गई है. Family income less than 8 lakh per annum. First, second, agriculture land less than 5 acre. Residential flat less than 1000 square feet and residential plot less than 100 to 200 square yard. अगर ये eligibility है, then only the individual is eligible to get benefit under the EWS category. Now, beneficiaries of reservation policy की से बात करें, ST, SC and OBC account for 70% of the reservations policy and they're entitled with 49.5% reservation in the government sector. The eligibility issues thus pertain to remaining sector, that is for 30%, and 42 crore people who fall under this category are from the general category. Calculation based on the available data suggests that about 95% of the people from general category who are eligible are under the proposed criteria. Given the mass number of eligible number of the individual, the upper caste, the small window of opportunity is there for them, and it is not difficult to understand that who would be the real beneficiaries rather than the generous eligibility criteria. So we need to understand the fact that this is not only about reservation, this is also about the entitlement of basic requirement for every section of the society, right? Even for the general category or UR category, अगर वो गरीब हैं, even they are the marginalized, तो उन्हें भी mainstream में लाने की जरूरत है. Now, way forward, instead of giving reservation based on different criteria, the government should focus on the quality of educations and other social upliftment measures, and it should also create the spirit of entrepreneurship to make job giver instead of the job seeker. So these are some of the things that government can take as a measure, and if implemented in the longer run can have a huge potential for a country like India, which can harness its demographic dividend. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's question, that is for the Saturday questions. The correct option for the first question is D. For second, it is C. Today's MCQ for practice. आपको बताना है गरीब नवाज एम्प्लॉयमेंट स्कीम के बारे में. The scheme was launched by the Ministry of Labor and Employment, and it aims to provide short-term job-oriented skill for development courses to minorities youth in order to enable them the skill-based employment. So do check it out for the correct option. The second question of the day, that is exercise cutlass exercise, is something. It's an annual maritime exercise conducted to promote the national and regional maritime security in East Africa and Western Indian Ocean. The exercise is designated to access and improve combined maritime laws, enforceable capabilities, and capacity to promote national and regional security. So do check it out for the correct option, which among the following is the correct one. This type of question will definitely be relevant for the upcoming prelims examination. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.